The iPhone Air is not a pro iPhone. I consider myself to be a power user of my phone. So right off the bat, I know this phone is not for me. But I wanted to try it out anyway. So I've been using the iPhone Air for the past couple of weeks and I have thoughts. I'm sure you would already know that this phone comes with a few compromises. Let's talk about them before we get to what I think makes this phone great. The iPhone Air has only one speaker and that's at the top of the phone. There are no speakers at the bottom, so you don't get stereo audio at all. This may or may not be a deal breaker for you. I did some testing comparing the iPhone Air with the 17 Pro Max. The 17 Pro Max has the best speakers on an iPhone yet, and here's how it fared. Yes, the 17 Pro Max is better, but the Air is manageable. And it's not that bad, to be honest. The thing about the lack of speaker is that it affects you if you listen or watch a lot of stuff on your iPhone directly. I personally always use my AirPods, so for me the lack of an extra speaker isn't a deal breaker. That said, for the price of $999, this phone should of course have a second speaker. If you look at the bottom of the phone, the USB-C port is slightly misaligned. It doesn't sit at the center of the iPhone but sits towards the bottom, which is a minor design compromise. And I'm sure the engineers at Apple would have hated doing it, but there was no alternative, so they went with this design. I personally would have preferred this phone to be portless and just use MagSafe for charging, but have a second speaker at the bottom instead. But I think the next point I'm going to speak might have a say in that. Okay, I didn't want to do a benchmark and compare the iPhone Air to a lot of other phones. You can easily find this on YouTube where a lot of other creators have done a much better job than I could ever have. But here are a few examples. There's a great review by the tech chap. The iPhone Air fared the worst among the new iPhones. And then here's Linus. The iPhone Air had the worst battery life, but it was better than the Pixel 10 Pro. On Mr. Who's the Boss's channel, the iPhone Air again fared the worst, coming in at 7 hours and 18 minutes, whereas the 17 Pro Max got a whopping 13 hours of battery life. So yes, the iPhone Air compares worse than the other iPhones, especially against the iPhone 17 Pro Max. I did do some simple battery tests of my own though. I charged my iPhone Air to a full 100% and just left it for 24 hours, and it dropped 12%. I know it's a pretty nonsensical test and not scientific at all, but I just wanted to try it out. Another test I did was I played Destiny Rising on both my iPhone Air and the 17 Pro Max for 15 minutes to see how long the battery dropped. I started by charging both phones to 80% and made sure to close all background apps. After playing for 15 minutes, the iPhone 17 Pro Max dropped to 79%. Just a 1% drop. Do you want to guess how much the iPhone Air dropped to? Before I give you the answer, let me just touch on performance. Both phones handled the gameplay smoothly without dropping any frames. The back of the iPhone 17 Pro Max heated evenly across the entire surface. The iPhone Air heated up more than the 17 Pro Max, just below the camera where the processor sits. Yes, the iPhone Air does get more hot than the iPhone 17 Pro Max. It doesn't have the vapor chamber and it is made out of titanium, which doesn't really help with cooling. Okay, let's go back to see how much my iPhone Air dropped. The iPhone Air, with 50 minutes of gameplay, dropped to 77%, which honestly is not bad at all. I expected it to drop much more. The third test I did was to do a 4K 30fps video recording for 12 minutes straight. I charged both phones to 80%, I did the video recording for 12 minutes straight, and both phones dropped to just 78%. So in tasks like this, the iPhone Air and the 17 Pro Max are pretty much similar in how much battery percentage they dropped. But all these tests aside, the battery life is genuinely a concern. It does not last a whole day if you are a heavy user of your phone. You will find yourself topping up during the day, if not multiple times. That was my experience at least. If you are someone that is conscious of using your phone and want a phone that doesn't consume your life, or want a phone that will stop you from smartphone addiction, this phone might be the phone for you, as you're going to be more privy to your battery dropping during the day and try not to be on your phone all the time. One final point on battery life I want to make is that this battery is new. If you intend to use this phone for 3 or 4 years, the battery will not definitely last a whole day as the battery ages. So please do keep in mind that this battery, like any other battery, will degrade, and in a few years it will not hold up charge like it used to. I'm someone that upgrades to the latest iPhones yearly, and that is because I want the best camera in my pocket all the time. The iPhone Air does not have an ultra wide or a telephoto, so you miss the zoom and all those features. What you also miss is macro photography. You miss spatial video. You don't get to shoot in RAW using the native camera app, although you can still use a third-party app like Halide for that. That said, the single camera is a great camera. The photos come out well both in daylight and at night, and the video is pretty great too, and I can't complain much. iPhone videos have been really good for about a decade now, and the iPhone Air is no exception. Just mind you, I'm considering this to be a single camera system, so I don't want to keep repeating the point that you miss both zoom and ultra wide. I've got used to multiple lenses on iPhones, and I found this very limited. A few months ago, I switched to the iPhone 13 mini as an experiment, and even that had an ultra wide lens on it. The iPhone Air is even a downgrade from that. If you want a single camera that doesn't carry a lot of bells and whistles, this is a great camera. To put it in another way, it is a great single camera system, but not a great camera system when you compare it with other iPhones due to lack of multiple lenses. If you can live with one camera, or if you're not into photography, it's a great camera. Now that the compromises are out of the way, let's talk about what makes this iPhone like no other. In my opinion, this is the biggest iPhone redesign since the iPhone X in 2017. It feels great in the hand, and it's Apple at its best. It's thin and it feels almost fake in a good way. Fake that you can't believe that this is an actual phone. It is also very lightweight. If you've been using iPhones for a while, just picking this thing up feels like magic. It feels like picking up, It feels like picking up air. I've been using the iPhone 17 Pro Max for the last couple of weeks too, and every time I pick up the iPhone Air, I love it much more than the 17 Pro Max or any other iPhone I've used in the last decade. That is including the iPhone 13 mini. The iPhone 13 mini looks small, and you know what to expect when you pick it up. The Air, on the other hand, is not a small phone, and yet when you pick it up, it beats all the expectations of what you expected from it. The form factor and the design is the main USP of this phone. If you want something that feels premium and looks great, this is the phone for you, bar none. The sleek profile with the shiny titanium edges look great, and the display at 6.5 inches is a good size too. Colors look great, and the display gets really bright all the way up to 3000 nits. Let me quickly talk about the Pro iPhones this year. The Pro iPhones this year are thicker, heavier, and more bulkier than previous years. And the unibody design is not for everyone. This iPhone Air is the one that enables the Pro to be a real Pro iPhone. The Air is what enables Apple to make a strikingly thin iPhone that Steve Jobs would be proud of, whilst catering to a market that needs real Pro features on a Pro iPhone. Apple tried the iPhone minis and plus-sized iPhones, and they were, at least for Apple, not successful phones. The iPhone Air is something new and unique, but it comes with a lot of compromises. Compromises that only you can answer if it is a deal breaker for you or not. If the compromises are something that doesn't bother you, I'm genuinely jealous of you, because I can't live with these compromises, especially the single camera. I upgrade my iPhone every year, and I usually buy the Pro Max model as it is the best iPhone I can get for the whole year. And I don't have many choices. I know it's the best in design, I know it's the best in cameras, I know it's the best in features. But this year, even though I'm going with the 17 Pro Max, a part of me knows that the iPhone Air is the classiest and most elegant iPhone out there. And I wish I could bring myself just to use the Air, but I can't. And I don't like that about myself. I believe the iPhone Air will serve as the design inspiration for future iPhone models. Its thin profile not only sets a new standard that the other iPhones will try to match, but also paves the way for an eventual iPhone foldable. Maybe next year. Let me know what you think of the iPhone Air. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.